What up, babes, and what a time. That chapter was fantastic. It was excellent. I really did love it. I think it had everything that I was kind of looking for, and a lot of things that I didn't. I thought that maybe we were going to see some aftermath of Law and Marshall. Yeah, that's Marshall, aka Teach, but we didn't get that. I'm not necessarily expecting that anytime soon. That could be like an end of arc thing, but I don't expect this arc to be too long, and I think this chapter was a perfect example as why. But let's talk about it. So first things first, that cover page was hot. I'm gonna be seeing Film Red this weekend, as well as whoever watching this should be, because if you're watching this and you're not seeing Film Red, then I don't know what your deal is, but you know, it is what it is. The biggest thing that I'm gonna say in that cover page, the hypest thing, is that there were all these dual panels. You know, Usopp's with his boy, a lot of Shanks crew in there. Explain to me why Ben Beckman gets his own panel. He gets it, the man gets it. Because the captains get their own panel. Sure, you know, the captains, they are who they are. But not even Zoro's getting his own panel. But Ben Beckman is like, no, everybody relax. I'm gonna go ahead and get my own little square here. Okay, this is my panel. Nobody fucks with my panel. But I'm a Ben Beckman lover. I'm a Ben Beckman simp. So it is what it is. Egghead. It's where we end up, and it starts off fast and it kind of doesn't stop. So what I loved at the very beginning was Zoro kind of being a dick to the Swamp Man. And he's like, yeah, you can kind of just get out of here. But he's also very smart, because he's like, well, we're on a government island. Like, I've kind of seen this situation before. If someone has to bail everybody out, I want to be the person that's on our ship so I can go in there and wreak fucking havoc. Which it seems like that's going to happen, but I don't know entirely how that's going to look. I don't think Vegapunk is necessarily, like, going to cause harm to them, but I don't know. There's so many questions with this man that I'm not entirely sure. But it's the 6 faces of Vegapunk. On top of the cover page, by the way, that means there's going to be more cover pages to come. That means that a new story is coming to place now, because the whole cake one is now over. It goes with the Straw Hats. They're kind of visiting everything and communicating between each other. And just, you know, more science stuff happened at the beginning. Nothing crazy, but we are going to meet everybody. And then Jinbei out of nowhere. Seraphim, the Lunafista himself, Jinbei as a child. Now, we learned a lot about Lunafistas this chapter, a lot more, and they're dumping information, which is absolutely insane. And something I didn't even notice the first time I read it, but he's Seraphim number 4. I don't think that that's really a big deal, but above that, if you look closely, it says 98%. Now, I think these things charge, but I'm just kind of like, what's powering them? Like, what's going on there? Was it similar with Kuma? What's powering them? And all this stuff with the lineage and all that is absolutely insane. But they're able to learn and adapt from the creators, and like, they have these abilities. I'm just like, dude, like, you guys are creating a Terminator situation where you're going to make these self-thought machines that are just going to kind of take over. And that's going to be a problem. We saw Teach and them fighting on Amazon Lily, and how much of a problem the Lunafistas were there, and just kind of how strong they were, that even someone as strong as Teach was like, holy shit, this thing's strong. And we see that yet again. Jinbei starting off by just Kamehameha blasting them, the Straw Hat crew, and kind of just going to town, like looking to take names immediately, like looking to take them out immediately. Now they have devil fruits. I can't confirm it, but it looks like that might be a swamp ability. Are they able to now copy devil fruits? I don't put anything past Vegapunk at this point. I can't. I literally cannot do it. He's too much of a genius, and I love his 6 faces because they are described so well, and I just like look at them and I'm like, that does make a lot of sense. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And the second time reading through it, and I was like, oh, so that's kind of what that one's doing, and kind of what they're all about. But yeah, Jinbei with the devil fruit powers, I think it's the swamp, which is why I think that Frankie pointed out that I've seen this before, because he's had a couple of interactions specifically with Swamp Man. But goes straight for Nami's neck. Straight for it. Unfeeling machines, like I said, so they're going to go for the throat every single time. Sanji loses his shit, kicks the living bejesus out of him. And then Robin follows suit, but what's interesting is that later, who I believe to be like the main one, Mr. One, the real Vegapunk, I have no real backing behind it, but I just hope it is, because that's like what I pictured for Vegapunk. I like to think an old man's under there. I like to think that was the original body, but I'm not sure. And they absolutely go to town on this dude. But what's interesting is if they really wanted them dead, they would be dead. They really would be. So I don't know if he's just like, this is a Yonko crew, so we can kind of do these things. Because you have to know that he knows everything immediately. As soon as Lilith saw the Straw Hats out in the ocean, all the Vegapunks are like, we know who these people are. We know what we're going to do. And we're going to test out our machines on them because why not? They just took out Kaido. Like, it is what it is. But they go to town. A beautiful showcasing by the Straw Hats. They didn't necessarily win by any means, but they definitely didn't lose. Some people were taking some hits, and Jinbei is an absolute savage with what I believe to be the swamp fruit. It could be some like being able to swim. He knows Fishman karate, and he is throwing out some moves and some techniques. And he had some of the Straw Hats looking a little rough, but they did such a good job of covering each other. They're used to it. This is kind of like common ground for them, so it wasn't anything too crazy. But every single Straw Hat got their own little lick in, which was great. We get introduced to all of them. I don't even know if I should call them by like, are they evil? Are they Flare? Are they Edison? Are they Lilith? Like, I don't know. Do we call them by their numbers? Because calling them by their numbers would probably get confusing, because then you think, oh, number 2. And you're like, Bon Clay? And I'm like, no. Number 2, Edison. You mean Flare? And I'm just like, I don't know. What are we referring to these guys as? I don't know. They're just Vegapunk, the robot Vegapunk, the female Vegapunk, the big Vegapunk, the one that shits. I don't know. So we definitely have to come to terms with that, because it's kind of like weird right now to kind of talk about them, but it makes sense. They're all very curious. This is all research for them. They're learning from this, and you can see that they are taking notes. And something I didn't know the second time is like all these dudes are working. Pythagoras, Edison, Lilith, they're all doing their own part and working. And then what I noticed, do you know what Desire is? So Vegapunk is working their ass off all the time, which means what? They need nutrition. Now Desire is literally everything that they need to do, but don't have time for, which is what we see. That is the eating. You need your calories for that brain power, which is their shitting. That's something you just got to do, and that is their sleeping, which is something you just have to do. Maybe she works out as well, but there's just other things she's doing, the desirable things in life, the pleasures, if you will. But I was confused by it at first, but now it makes so much sense, because I'm just like, this person is just doing everything the other Vegapunks do not have time for, and are just like, you know what, I don't have time to shit. Like, I'm studying these people. Like, there's too much to learn here. The dude's making blueprints frame 0, literally frame 0. I was like, holy shit, because the stats that he just threw out, and them talking about the lineage factor and the recollection of abilities that the Seraphims have, I'm just like, holy shit. But they don't have time to shit or sleep, so that's what this person's doing, is shitting and sleeping. And it makes sense, because oh, that hit the spot, like, oh, that was good. Like, they're feeling the same thing. They're all connected, what seems physically, which is going to be bad. Because if CP0 comes in and kills even one of them, aren't they all toast? I don't know exactly how that works, but they might all be toast if even one of them dies. So they're going to have to kind of be protected if we don't want Vegapunk to die, or if he's able to bring them all back, I'm not sure. But Dr. Vegapunk himself, Shaka, what I think is Dr. Vegapunk comes in and be like, okay, everybody chill. He stops the Seraphim. He's like, no. And if you look around, and when I told you that Jinbei was number 4, there's other doors with 5 and 6, which means there's 1, 2, and 3. If you wanted them dead, they are dead. I love the Straw Hats. I love them. I mean, look, there's Brooke. Robin's way over there. But I love them, but they're toast. If he's 6, like 5, even 4 of them, even 3 of them, they're done. Especially, I mean, they don't have their 2 strongest guys. Not even, in my opinion, you might be pissed. Their 3 strongest guys, because Jinbei's not there. They're done. It's just not happening. They're going to get overwhelmed and they would die. So if he wanted them dead, they would be dead. But I think that it's just kind of like research purposes. He's going to use them as he sees fit, but he's in a weird position now. And this is what I'm kind of thinking. And like I said, if he wanted them dead, they're dead. If he wanted them captured, they're captured. And they kind of are in a captured position at the moment. But it's very interesting, because if he's working with Dragon, and here's my theory at the moment on Vegapunk. If he's working with Dragon, I think that he was working for the Marines for a time. But when he came to terms with figuring it all out, now he's kind of like the person who's in there, but he's feeding the resistance not only information, but technology and everything. And he's like, he figured it out quick, because I was thinking about it. I was like, he probably figured it out recently, And then he's like, oh my god, like they're gonna take over the world. But no, this man's in the know and has been in the know for quite some time. So if he knows the like big government's plan to cleanse the world, to stop everything, then he's like, no, I can't be having that. Cannot be having that. And he knows that he's about to die, so he's like, you know, I don't really have much to lose. I don't know necessarily whose side he's on or what he's doing, but what seems like he's on the good side. He's working with Dragon, and even though he's necessarily a Marine, I think that he figured it out and he was just kind of feeding them false info. It seems like he's going to be able to turn the Lunafistus against them, which scares me even more on what the Marines' power might be capable of, but I don't think we know what we're in for. I really don't. Vegapunk has been awesome so far. Absolutely awesome. And just the stuff that we're learning in the info dump is insane. Not only with the Lunafistas, but the next part that they just dropped on us. I love that they're also giving attention to Frankie, because if this is anyone's arc, it should be Frankie's arc because he's the tech man. But now it's going to maybe turn into somewhat of a Robin too, because now it's talking about history and something that we knew right before the Void Century, which what we believe, right, to be the last cleansing. The man says there was a civilization 900 years ago, not unlike Egghead, that was this technological. And I was like, holy shit, they got wiped out. And Vegapunk obviously came to this conclusion. This has been something that we've known for a while, but it's very interesting. That last panel, it made me think of a lot of things immediately. The first couple initial things was the giant straw hat, because I'm like, okay, it's definitely interesting. Is there a reason why Vegapunk's on this island? Because with Vegapunk, we have to think that every single thing that he does has reason behind it, because he's a super, super, super genius. Elbaf, because there's giants, and they could have survived along with like part of Wano. That's entirely possible, which is why maybe we haven't seen Elbaf yet, which is maybe why we're on the way there next, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know. The Void Century, and it seems like we're about to figure that out. We're about to figure out what the Void Century was truly about. Because if somebody knows what happened in the Void Century that would divulge into it, it's Vegapunk. It is Vegapunk. So I hope that we get in there. I think the info dump is not going to stop until CP0 gets there. And even when they get there, they might be divulging information themselves. They might be like, because even our boy, Leopard Man, Lucio? Anyway, Lucci. Anyway, he's like, geniuses are weird. Like, is this has something to do with what happened on the Lucia? That's why I said it. On the Lucia Kingdom. And yeah, there's just too much going on right now. Everyone's skeptical, and I don't think anybody's safe. I don't think CP0's safe. I don't think Akainu is safe. I don't think anyone's safe. And that's just kind of like what it is. Very, very random thought to end things off here. Like I said, a great chapter and something that's really cool. And the more you look in the background of these panels, the more information I think gets told. But randomly, this makes me think the Gorosei can fight. It just does. It makes me think that there's more military power than what's letting on. There has to be. Or Imu-sama is actually that stupid. Either way, we're in for it. Oda keeps us guessing, and I love it. Shouts to Goda. But go watch Film Red. I'm done. I'm going to probably watch it subbed and dubbed. I'll let you guys know about that. No break next week, which is hype. And I will see you guys then. Peace.